Should the Chicago Bears really consider drafting a tight end with their first round draft pick? Let's talk about it. Bend over to your right. What the was that? What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk. What's going on, Bears fans, and welcome to another episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment on these episodes as they keep rolling along, as we are now just 24 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend, whatever you ended up doing, whether it was enjoying some of the nice weather that we had, or, you know, my friend's brother and I, we actually went to go play some basketball yesterday on Sunday morning, and dude, my Achilles, I'm telling you right now, is hanging on by a thread. I needed to get that checked out for sure, but it was nice getting to play some 5-on-5s, get out there, won a game, but it was good, and I'm just feeling it after, yesterday, but that's what happens when you turn 30, I guess. But hopefully everyone had a great weekend, and it's another week. Now, the NFL owners meetings are actually going on right now. Obviously, I'm not there. I'm here doing a show, but that's on the bucket list. Like I tweeted out yesterday that I literally covered almost every single NFL event outside of the owners meetings and a Super Bowl. The Bears can help me with the Super Bowl if they ever get there. And then the owners meetings, I just need to get there next year, 2026. That'll be my first year. I'm putting it down. Manifesting it right now so that I'll be there later on. So then I'll have all these things checked off on my list. But beside the point, that's happening today. So we'll get to probably hear from Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, George McCaskey, Kevin Warren all throughout the week, and there'll be quotes, videos that come from the Bears media that are out there. So be sure to be. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that to see what the updates are. But for now, I do want to talk about the idea of the Chicago Bears potentially wanting to draft a guy like Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State, with that 10th overall pick. And it's an interesting topic of conversation for me, because I think, I put out an article yesterday on Bear Goggles On. So make sure to go please check that out. Read my work, and everybody else that writes for Bear Goggles On. You can look them up on Facebook, Twitter, obviously their website, beargoggleson.com. But the idea of my article was that I wanted the Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears started a project back in March, overhauling the trenches. And they've done a pretty damn good job of it. Three new interior offensive linemen, a new edge rusher in Dio Adangbo, Grady Jarrett added to the interior of the defensive line. So they have a really good start. This 2025 NFL draft, though, gives them an opportunity to finish what they started. So I think there's going to be a lot of potential tackles, edge rushers, even interior defensive linemen that you could take in this draft with those 3 draft picks at 10, 39, and 41 to complete the project. And I think that would be the best way of going about building this football team, because there's been too many Bears GMs of the past, teams of the past, that have really neglected to finish that most essential project that I think helps teams get to that final game of the Super Bowl. Again, the Eagles are a really good example of it. And the Bears, I just don't know if they're quite in a position as of right now to truly go. And credit to Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network, go to the toy store and get more of those types of weapons, wide receiver, tight end, even a running back, when they still need to go, I think, to the hardware store and build up the trenches, build up the lines. And that's where this discussion for Tyler Warren comes in, because Tyler Warren definitely falls under the flashy toy store. Get another weapon out there for Caleb Williams. And there are definitely benefits of him being on the offense with Ben Johnson, who like to use two tight end sets in Detroit. And you pair him up with Cole Kmet. But I'm also going to get into some things to consider if you do draft a guy like Tyler Warren. So you can help out the offense that way. But still, like the job isn't finished with the trenches. I don't know how Ryan Poles truly feels about Braxton Jones and his injury, still recovering, or if he just feels like there's one of these left tackles in this draft, or even Armand Membu from Missouri that played right tackle but can maybe be the left tackle of the future. If he thinks one of those guys is better than what he currently has and gives the offensive line even more upside, I don't know how you pass up on that if you're Ryan Poles. Complete the project. Or if you're on the defensive line, yes, you sign Dio Dangbo and Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett's going to be 32 in April. April is tomorrow if you're listening to this show or watching it on Monday. And Dio Dangbo is still a young, I would still consider unproven edge rusher who got a 3-year, $48 million deal. And why can't you just add more guys to rush the quarterback? There's no rule saying that you can't do that. And really quickly, I just want to go to my article really quick, because I have some stats in there that really, I think, illustrate that this job ain't done with the trenches. I mean, you added all those. You added the 3 new interior offensive linemen, and obviously, the defensive lineman that I just talked about. But last season, Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times, and the Bears finished with the 25th lowest total rushing yards. The defense couldn't stop the run, giving up 136.3 yards per game. That was the 28th most in the NFL. And they finished with 40 sacks, and that was about halfway, 16th in the league. The Bears made some additions, but they needed to because of how bad it was in the trenches. And even with the additions the Bears made, are they good enough at those 2 respective lines to say that you can just go start drafting some of these skilled players? I'm not there yet. And I'm curious when you watch and listen to this, if you feel that way. Or do you just go and draft maybe BPA, best player available, and that happens to be Tyler Warren? Then you do that. But that also limits the opportunities that Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, Ben Johnson can have of drafting talent in that top 50 with the 3 picks that they have at 10, 39, and 41 to get players that I think can have the most impact in 2025. Because obviously, look, the Bears, they do have pick 72 in the 3rd round. They have 148 in the 5th, and then 233 and 240 in the 7th round. But I'll tell you this, just given the track record that Ryan Poles has had in the 3rd round, I don't know if that's like a guaranteed lock by any means. Karan Amagaji was last year, and it's too early. I'll say this. I'll preface this before I piss people off. It is too early to be out on Karan Amagaji. I just can't be all in on him going into 2025. Nothing has shown me that. And yes, he was injured at the start of last year. Didn't have the ramp up period that he probably would have wanted, or even the reps during training camp. But I still can't be all in on Karan Amagaji just based off of that. The year before that in the 3rd round, Zach Pickens. That guy was a healthy scratch towards the end of the year. And then you had Velus Jones Jr. Not on the team. Very first game of 2024, literally kicks the football, turnover to the Tennessee Titans. The 3rd round has not been good to Ryan Poles. So I look at that pick, no guarantee whatsoever. And then as you get later and later in the draft, the guarantee factor that those players are going to be contributors or even be on the team goes lower and lower. So I look at those first 3 picks as you need to get impact starters there, impact playmakers there. And you don't have to see everything in year 1, but if you're still looking to upgrade the trenches with more likely a more likelihood of those guys panning out, it's with those picks. And that's why I'm so, I don't know, focused on what they're going to do at pick 10, 39, and 41 and how I finish my columns. Like, they have this opportunity to finish what they started. And that doesn't mean like going out of your way and you want to follow your board. You don't want to just be drafting for need. But if there even is this discrepancy of, you have this, I don't know, Tyler Warren, Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, throw Ashton Genty in there, even though I don't even think he's going to be there at 10. And then your grade is really similar to the offensive or defensive line player. You know what? For me, I'm almost going to weigh heavier on the trenches, just so you can get that group right, man. Like, I gave you all the stats. That's not even all the stats that I could have probably listed off on the offensive and defensive lines that showed you how bad it was. And yes, there were injuries and there was a bunch of different factors for the offense with the different coordinators and different players in and out of the lineup. I get all that. But you just need to make sure you have those groups right and you keep building them. I don't think that group ever really stops. You don't really ever stop building that group, ever. Because you never know at one point, not even that someone's going to go down, but you just need to have people that you feel good about at those respective positions. Joe Tooney's 32 already, right? Like, that's no lock for much longer than maybe even 2026. And it's not to say that you can't draft his replacement in the next year's draft, but then you're just putting things down the road. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it kind of feels, look, Ryan Poles is in year 4 of his regime, or in his tenure here at Chicago, and he's just now really focusing on overhauling the trenches. He drafted Darnell Wright, right? Number 10 overall pick. Gervon Dexter, a second rounder. Those are, again, little spurts of the commitment there. This offseason, though, going into 2025 with Ben Johnson, there was just a heavy emphasis of it in bringing in veteran players with former Pro Bowl players. And now you have a good group of offensive and defensive linemen. But like I said, it is nowhere near finished. And I think that's where finally the conversation of Tyler Warren comes in. And let me quickly, I was just curious too with tight ends, like, how often do these guys even get drafted in the first round, let alone a top 10 pick? And actually, credit to Pro Football Network. They did a draft. They did a whole article on this after the 2024 NFL draft. So there actually has been, just reading verbatim here, give a shout out to the author here, which not named. Oh, that's unfortunate. The article is called "How Many Tight Ends Have Been Drafted in the First Round, Ranking from Worst to First." I'm not too concerned about the rankings, but more so how many have been drafted. So 25 tight ends have been drafted in the opening round since 2000, accounting for 24 drafts. If you're a math whiz or have a handy calculator, that comes to a hair over one tight end drafted per year on average. In other words, the league's approach to utilizing a top pick on a tight end has shifted somewhat, perhaps due to the warranted perception that many of these picks were busts relative to their draft position. And just here, let's go through the list. Let's go through the list of these first round tight ends. And then I'll let you be the judge of, well, did that player really work out for their respective team? Let's look. It's Brock Bowers, the Raiders. That looks like a pretty damn good pick at number 13 overall in 2024. Kyle Pitts, Atlanta Falcons, number 4 overall in 2021. That definitely, the Falcons did not get the return on that pick that they were probably hoping for. And I think that's, I think that's on Atlanta. I think that's on Kyle Pitts. So there's a couple factors there. TJ Hawkinson, Detroit Lions, number 8 in 2019. Now with the Minnesota Vikings, was with Ben Johnson. Or no, yeah, was with Ben Johnson. Sorry. And now with Kevin O'Connell. Noah Fant, Denver Broncos, number 20 in the 2019 draft. So, I mean, you had 2 first-round tight ends, both from the University of Iowa, come out of the 2019 draft. Noah Fant, I don't think he hasn't been the playmaker that I think a lot of people were expecting as well. Also on another, now no longer on the Denver Broncos, last was with the Seattle Seahawks. Hayden Hurst with the Baltimore Ravens, number 25 overall in 2018. OJ Howard, you may know that one didn't work. I remember when he was a potential option for the Bears at one point in free agency. But OJ Howard, Tampa Bay Bucks, number 19 in 2017. Evan Ingram, New York Giants, number 23 in 2017. And damn, I didn't realize there were this many tight ends. David Njoku, Cleveland Browns, number 29 in 2017. So 3 tight ends in the 2017 draft. That was also, Mitch Trubisky, Deshaun Watson. Oh, Patrick Mahomes. That's now 3 years before that. You had Eric Ebron, the Detroit Lions, number 10 overall, 2014. Tyler Eifert had so much potential out of Notre Dame, just injuries. Cincinnati Bengals, number 21 in 2023. Jermaine Gresham, Cincinnati Bengals, number 21 in 2010. Brandon Pettigrew, what a name. Detroit Lions, number 20, 2009. Dustin Keller from the New York Jets, number 30 in 2008. Greg Olsen, Chicago Bears, number 31 in 2007. That was a really good pick for the Bears. Too bad they traded him away once Mike Martz, came to Chicago. Vernon Davis, San Francisco 49ers, number 6 in 2006. Hey, former Bear, Mercedes Lewis, Jacksonville Jaguars, number 28 in 2006. Heath Miller, Pittsburgh Steelers, number 30, 2005. Kellen Winslow II, the Cleveland Browns, number 6 in 2004. Ben Watson, the New England Patriots, number 32 in 2004. Dallas Clark, Indianapolis Colts, number 24, 2003, Hall of Famer there. Jeremy Shockey, New York Giants, number 14, 2002. Daniel Graham, New England Patriots, number 21 in 2002. Jeremy Stevens, Seattle Seahawks, number 28 in 2002. Todd Heap, Baltimore Ravens, number 31 in 2001. Bubba Franks, Green Bay Packers, number 14 in 2000. And Anthony Becht, New York Jets, number 27, 2000. That's, we're getting to a point where I'm like, I don't know about you, but of those 25 tight ends, Pitts, TJ Hawkinson, Eric Ebron, and Kellen Winslow II are the only tight ends since 2000 to be drafted in the top 10. Now, could Tyler Warren be added amongst those tight ends and be the 5th tight end? Potentially. I just don't know if that's quite the move for the Chicago Bears. I know I talked about tight end in the beginning of the show, but we're hitting already the 20-minute mark of the show. So we're going to go into the why I don't believe it's the right move for the Bears to select Tyler Warren at 10. I mean, again, he's got a lot of qualities that you love about him, and love about him. But I'm going to give you the reasons why, that shouldn't be the pick for the Bears at 10, if he's even available, because of these reasons. But first, I got to tell everybody about, my friends at Windy City Sports Cards. And as you guys all know, they specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. Whether you're a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or Blackhawks, they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to their Chicago-focused items, everybody, they also offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and players. Visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for to complete your collection or to discover a new favorite. Check them out at 312-WindyCitySports.com. That's 312-WindyCitySports.com. All right, everybody, this is the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano, and we are talking about Penn State tight end Tyler Warren and if he should be in consideration for the Chicago Bears with the 10th overall pick. And in that first half of the show, kind of gave you my reasons as to, why I believe the Bears should finish the trenches, continue building that up. Gave you a list of tight ends that were drafted in the first round since 2000. But here's my thing on Tyler Warren. And it's nothing against him personally. Great football player. And for people maybe not as familiar, the dude, absolute stud, has been, well, really, 2024, he popped off. Let's be completely honest here. Played in 16 games, 104 receptions on 135 targets, 1,230 yards, 11.8 yards per reception, 8 touchdowns. Dude had a receiving grade of 93.4, contested catch rate of 61.9%. That puts him in the elite blue tier on PFF. Run blocking grade, 52.8, a little bit below average. Only had 3 drops on the season on, again, those 135 targets, 104 receptions. Reliable. He's going to be someone who's gritty in the run game. I know as you maybe hear the run blocking grade, it's fine. No, it's a guy that's going to, use his entire 6'6", 261-pound frame to go out there and block and open up things for, his teammates. Just watching interviews, he takes a lot of pride in blocking and creating for his running backs, whoever the ball carrier is. And I truly do appreciate that for in a guy like Tyler Warren. And a guy that's, he was doing everything too for Penn State. There's times where he threw a pass, he's lining up and carrying the football like a running back. Like the dude just, will do everything. That's a good way. I think that's the best way of putting it for you. Now, for me, with Tyler Warren, why I ultimately believe it's not the right pick for the Bears, to keep adding on to what I've already been saying. But when you're drafting a guy like Tyler Warren, I would think that almost would, it doesn't necessarily have to mean this, but what is the future of Cole Kmet when you draft a guy like Tyler Warren in the top 10, right? I think that kind of, if you do that, you're also signifying maybe, Cole Kmet, who obviously Ben Johnson, he wasn't a part of this team when Ryan Pace drafted Cole Kmet or when Ryan Poles gave Cole Kmet an extension. But I know after the 2025 season, there's ways to get out of his contract. And if you draft the rookie tight end in Tyler Warren, top 10, you could potentially be looking to maybe move off of Cole. And, that's Ben Johnson's right. But I wonder how that would come across to some of the teammates in the locker room. This is a guy that Cole Kmet, captain last year, has done everything he potentially could do to, help this team win. Could he be a better blocker at times? Sure. Could he be a better separator on his routes? Absolutely. But I also don't think we've seen the best out of Cole Kmet if you're just basing off of last season, right? There was a lot of things wrong with the offense. And I don't think Cole Kmet was a part of the problems. He would be a part of the solutions. So, yeah, I think there's that you have to factor into, but also the usage. And I know, as you guys probably all know too now, Ben Johnson liked to use 2 tight end sets when he was in Detroit. He did. It was something that I think the Lions were very successful on, even when they were, passing out of those sets. When, their second tight end who played about 50% of the snaps, want to make sure I have that right too. In Brock Wright, even though he wasn't a big part of the receiving game, just had over 100 yards, the the presentation of looking like you're going to run the football because you're in 12 personnel did open things up for the Detroit Lions. So that's enticing. But you also factor in that Brock Wright, Sam Laporta, to get everything clear and stated here, Sam Laporta was the Lions' #1 tight end last season. I think a lot of people know that. He was the main receiving threat. He caught most of the touchdowns or receptions from the tight end position. Sam Laporta played 583 snaps for the offense. That was about 50.8%. And it's not going to be an apples to apples situation of how Ben Johnson's going to utilize his personnel in Chicago the way that he did in Detroit. But for a top 10 pick, do you want him out there 50% of the time? And maybe it's even less, because when you look at Detroit, they're two tight end, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. Cole Kmet is a far more experienced, talented player than Brock Wright is. And then you're adding Tyler Warren into the mix. Like, you can't just keep going, 12 personnel, right? I mean, the league, is going to cater to 11 personnel, 3-by-1, 3 wide receivers on the field, 1 tight end. That's just how it goes. 1 running back. And I just wonder how you would get the usage out of this. Like, how are you going to make sure you're getting the most out of this top 10 pick? But also, you're still got to be able to use Cole Kmet and Rome Odunze and DJ Moore. Like, yes, I think it's good to have more weapons, more assets. But I think that I wonder how that, like, Ben Johnson, he's obviously got the Bears head coaching job for a reason. A creative offensive mind. You see what they've done in Detroit, and he would have to be creative with it. I just wonder too, like, how much are you really getting out of, this rookie draft pick who still has to prove himself in the NFL, is going to have an adjustment period, needs to learn not only the blocking concepts, but the route concepts and everything that goes in between that. It's a hard position to learn. And I think even being a really impact player in year one, because of all the things that he's going to have to consume in Ben Johnson's playbook. So there's that factor. But it still all comes down to this, you guys. As much of I'm still going to call it a luxury pick for the Bears to go and get a tight end at 10. They have still not done enough on either the offensive or defensive line to be like, yep, we're just going to take a tight end here. And I gave you the picks that were top 10 picks, and I left it up to you to judge, well, those work out. And is Tyler Warren a more polished prospect than, I don't know, Brock Bowers? Is he more talented than Kyle Pitts? Is he like a TJ Hawkinson? Like, right? Like, these are all these things to consider. And Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions, got their tight end in round 2 in Sam Laporta. And that was a guy too. Make sure I look this up really quickly. Like, he didn't have the production in Iowa. Like, it wasn't Tyler Warren, right? It was nowhere near Tyler Warren's stats. Sure, I can get this. There we go. Sam Laporta college stats. So just because you have production in college, one doesn't mean that you're going to equate to have success in the NFL. But just because you don't have production doesn't mean you can't produce in the league. Sam Laporta's best season at Iowa, his last season there, 2022, senior, 58 receptions, 657 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns in 2021, which is his career high. But that ain't Tyler Warren. Like I just told you, Tyler Warren last season had nearly double Sam Laporta's stats. 1,238 touchdowns. Quadruple the touchdowns, right? Did I say he had 2? Yeah. Or 1. Sorry. Like, can the Bears find a tight end later on in the draft who doesn't have maybe the production or was showing production and still get a quality playmaker there? I wonder too, like, what if Ben Johnson really does love Cole Kmet and what he can do with him? If that's the case, then you're not drafting Tyler Warren. I don't believe so. I don't think that at all. Right? So to me, these three, going back to what I was stating in the first half of the show, 10, 39, 41. They're going to look at their boards. They're going to bring in 30 visits. And actually, sorry, that's a good point. I want to make sure I add this really quickly, kind of pivoting. Not really, but it adds to the Tyler Warren discussion. There was an article recently written. This was March 29th. Tony Pauline from Sports Kita. And he's been putting out some really good content, you guys. But he had a notebook, insider information on Penn State's pro day. And Tyler Warren, Abdul Carter, they did not work out during the pro day. But here's Tyler Warren, and something that is notable. Tony Pauline was told the tight end is focusing on a handful of teams and will showcase his talents for them before the draft. The New York Jets, Chicago Bears, and Indianapolis Colts were three of the teams named. Since then, Tony's been told the New Orleans Saints and both LA teams have seemingly joined the mix. And this is an interesting little paragraph here as well. Warren is a bit of an acquired taste, and not everyone has him as a top tight end in the drafts. He's a number 2 player at the position on his board after Colston Loveland. One team told him on Friday that Warren is a 4th player at tight end on their board. One of Warren's main attractions is that he's a very safe pick at the tight end spot. Just going based off of that last sentence, a safe pick. Do you just want a safe pick at 10? Or do you want a impact player at 10? Not that a safe player can't be an impact player, but I don't know if I'm just going off a safe. How many times are the Bears going to be drafting in the top 10 after this season? Hopefully it's not very often. It shouldn't be, given how this team is building and what they're doing in the trenches to help Caleb Williams, which will help Ben Johnson succeed in year 1. And to me, a safe pick isn't the right pick at 10. You want an impact player. You want a guy that's going to, significantly upgrade your whatever room that you're adding him to. And that's why I truly believe that if you're even considering a skilled player at 10, it's most likely going to be Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. Like that's my opinion. If you're going to consider a skilled player at 10 and Ashton Jeanty's on the board, yeah, I'm fine with the Bears making that pick. I am. I have no reservations about it. I think that would, if he falls to 10, you make the pick. But anything other than that, man, I'm not going Tyler Warren. I'm not going Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. I'm not considering the secondary. I'm not. There's just no way that you would, for the Bears right now, I don't think you do that. And again, does that go away from how their board might shape up? I don't know. I don't know how the Bears would consider doing it. Like, you grade all these players, and then you got to also know what your team needs at the time. Like, could they, if they had a wide receiver highly, highly graded, are they going to take him at 10? No, I don't believe so. Like that, I don't think that doesn't work. And again, go to kind of full circle wrap up this conversation. Like, the Bears have been shopping and going into, again, credit to Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network for this analogy, going into the toy shop, getting those nice little assets to add for Caleb Williams, the playmakers, Roma Dunze. I mean, you went out in free agency, you signed Keenan Allen, trade a 4th round draft pick for that. Like, we need to actually talk about that too. Like, was that even worth it? Probably not. And you're doing that, but go to the hardware, go to the more, boring of the things, quote unquote boring, the hardware store, and build the trenches so that you're not 25th lowest in rushing yards on offense, so that you're not in the bottom 5 of the NFL and stopping the run. And I know Andrew Billings went down in the Arizona game. I understand that. But it was shaky leading up to that point. Actually, even before Andrew Billings went down in the second half of that game, the Bears are getting gashed by James Conner and that Arizona Cardinals rushing. They were getting gashed. That was with Billings healthy. And then he gets out, I think, early third quarter. And then they just got obliterated. Stop that. The Bears need to, especially in the NFC North, you need to be able to stop the run, man. Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, Sonic, and Knuckles, they're still up there. They're still there. Josh Jacobs, yeah, still there. And the Vikings, and, maybe they continue adding to the room. The Bears need to get better there. And if they find a player capable, if they find a player that's worth drafting at 10 that helps on either side of the line, you make that pick, Ryan Poles. You upgrade the trenches and you finish the project that you started. You can find these skilled players. And not only that, the Bears do have a good group of guys right now. Weapons around Caleb Williams. Could they add more? Absolutely. They sure can. And, I think running back, when I'm looking at running back or tight end right now, what do I think could be more impactful? I think the dynamic runner. I really do. And I know like I said earlier, tight end will impact the run game, be a pass receiving threat if it is a guy like Warren or Colston Loveland, they would be impactful. But having you're going to still have Swift a part of this running back room. I think there's some Bears fans that disagree with that, but he's still going to be there. If he is paired with, I don't know, let's just say, let's go with Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. Why not? Let's go with Caleb Johnson there. Man, now you're getting that 1-2 punch at the running back spot. And now I think you're just giving defenses more to think about as you're kind of approaching, any given week. How do we stop, Rome Odunze going into year 2, DJ Moore, and then a guy like Caleb Johnson, Quishon Junkins, or, Trayvon Henderson. It could be a number of different guys that they like there at the running back spot. So that's my thought process on this. I don't think Tyler Warren's going to be the pick for the Bears. Yes, he's, apparently going on a private workout for them. But I just don't think he's going to be what the Bears ultimately end up doing, even if he's still on the board there at 10. Like I said, I can see the benefits he would bring to this football team, to any football team, really. But I wonder how much of an emphasis Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, Ben Johnson have on getting that offensive line, defensive line right where they need it and want it to be. And they probably feel pretty good about it, where it stands and the additions they made. But could it be better? Could it be even better? Yeah, of course it can. You don't want to have... Here's the thing too. Braxton Jones, fine player for the Bears. And you just don't want to go into the season, if maybe an injury happens, maybe he just doesn't quite recover from the left ankle, the injury that he sustained at the end of the season. And then Karama Amagaji is the next guy in line. You don't want to have all this effort put into this season to have that position be the one that really derails everything, right? Because if you can't have a reliable left tackle, then you have to you're putting your tight end automatically that side, to chip the defensive end. You have to roll your protection that way just to give whoever that is a little bit of help. And that is, again, if a guy like Braxton Jones isn't fully healthy, and also if Ryan Poles doesn't quite trust what he's seeing over there. It's all again questions to maybe consider. But for me, I'm not doing Tyler Warren at 10. You let me know in the comments, and Obviously, this wasn't a live show that I did. It will premiere, and you'll get a chance to, um, check in with your comments, and I'll read them afterwards. But that's just not the move for me. It's not the move for me for the Chicago Bears at 10. Maybe if you were to move back and, acquire, I don't know, another second or third, and then you still can have more swings at trying to upgrade the trench, then I would be for it. But really, the only skilled player I'm truly considering at 10 would be Ashton Genty. Other than that, and that too, I say that with confidence, but also like I do love this running back class. So if I see the Bears not, well, one, if Genty's already not available, you're not taking him obviously anyway. But if they address running back, I don't know, the third round or one of their second rounders, fine. But it's a deep class. And I'm sure there's also tight ends as well that the Bears can look at to continue just building around Caleb Williams and doing it the right way. We'll see what that right way is on April 24th, night one of the drafts, for the start of what should be hopefully an exciting season for the Bears. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, listening, watching, commenting, hanging out, amongst yourselves in the chat here. It's always a cool experience, but let's have a great week. Started off today's the last day of March, right? Yeah, we're going into April Tuesday. So there'll be plenty more content throughout the week. I am planning on doing my first 7-round mock draft for the Bears. So that'll be a fun, exciting little exercise. You get to see what I'm thinking. And obviously I'll keep doing those leading up to the draft just to provide different scenarios and ways that the Bears could potentially, approach the 2025 NFL draft. But everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. Please, please, please subscribe, like, leave a comment, share this show with somebody else. But that's going to wrap it up. And until next time, adios, Chicago. Bend over to your right. What the f- was that? What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk.